steps. I mean, what's one more year of multi-million-dollar losses? I thought Angel Reese was the star of stars, the icon of icons. That's what the mainstream media keeps telling me. Headline at Forbes from last month: how Angel Reese and A'ja Wilson are leading the WNBA's.
Angel Reese recently discovered that her WNBA games drew fewer viewers than a local Nebraska cable access chess tournament, and she didn't take it well. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was shattering TV ratings, earning praise as the Beyoncé of basketball. Angel's ratings, on the other hand, were virtually invisible, like a silent disco on mute. So, what caused this sharp decline? Why did America suddenly lose interest? Get ready, because this isn't just a minor setback. It's a dramatic, slow-motion crash that's capturing everyone's attention. Let's dive into what really happened.
You've got a basketball player, you got a celebrity that, or somebody that thinks she's a celebrity, that happens to be a basketball player. All right, but she's not celebrity enough to actually pack in the stands. And guys, there is some ugly numbers.
Angel Reese entered the WNBA preseason with the confidence of a Beyoncé headliner at Coachella, but soon realized the only viewers were bored janitors, two birds perched in the rafters, and a confused popcorn vendor mistaking the game for a monster truck show. In a landscape where visibility and attention matter most, Reese somehow became practically invisible on national TV. Not just metaphorically, but literally, because no one was tuning in to watch. Her debut turned into a quiet, unnoticed appearance, leaving everyone wondering what went wrong. If you support Caitlin Clark, subscribe our channel and comment "CC is the GOAT" down below.
Wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for taking the dump and turning it into an unmonetizable turd. Now, to her credit, it is a nicely polished turd. It almost looks appealing. Almost. Of course, it's still not appealing enough to generate profit, but I guess the WNBA...
The first stop on the Ghost Town tour was the preseason matchup between the Chicago Sky and Brazil's national team at LSU. You'd think that with Brazilian flair, Reese's dedicated college fan base, and her confident "I'm her" attitude, the game would be a major event. However, the reality was starkly different. The TV ratings for that game were so low, they made dial-up internet look lightning fast. Less than a handful of continents tuned in. Fewer viewers than those who watch paint drying competitions. NASA's Mars rover footage attracted more attention that day. If the broadcast had been replaced with a bouncing DVD logo screensaver, it might have generated more excitement and engagement, highlighting just how invisible that game truly was.
All of you who tell us, "Oh my God, what a big superstar. Oh my God, transcendent. Oh my goodness, generational. Oh my goodness," so on and so forth. You guys do all the talking, all the yapping. Twitter fingers turn to can't even show up and buy tickets.
Fast forward to Game 2 of the preseason, Chicago Sky versus Minnesota Lynx. This was meant to be Reese's redemption and her "look at me now" moment. Instead, it turned into "look at me, please? Anyone?" During warm-ups, a few pigeons flew overhead and flew away, bored by the dull atmosphere. Reese anticipated fireworks and confetti, but what she got were chirping crickets and a lone disinterested blogger live tweeting from a Wendy. Even the scoreboard seemed uninterested, barely keeping track of the game as the crowd and players struggled to find any excitement.
But look, one of the biggest stories to come out of this game is you're playing one of the considered to be top 4 teams in the league, the Minnesota Lynx, and nobody showed up to watch this game. All right? Again, 5 million Instagram followers do not equate to basket.
At one point, the camera panned across the stands, revealing a sea of empty seats that resembled a forgotten ghost town. The silence was deafening, echoing with abandonment. Somewhere in a basement, a network executive stared at the Nielsen numbers, quietly Googling how to fake your own death, overwhelmed by the disastrous turnout. Reese, however, didn't handle it well. She didn't shrug it off with grace or humility. Instead, she erupted. Not in a Michael Jordan turning pain into motivation way, but more like a reality TV villain ready for a 3-part reunion special. She posted passive-aggressive comments, cryptic emojis, and exuded enough attitude to fuel an entire season of Real Housewives. Her meltdown was loud, dramatic, and impossible to ignore, making it clear she was not taking the disappointing crowd lightly.
So I think it's time to finally, end the argument. End the argument that there is any sort of other needle mover that is even remotely close to Caitlin Clark in the WNBA.
The irony? Angel Reese wasn't even playing poorly. Statistically, she performed solidly, holding her ground and even pulling off a few moments that could have made a decent highlight reel on a slow news day. But nobody paid attention. Not because she underperformed, but because in today's world, performance doesn't matter when the cameras aren't capturing it and the spotlight is shining elsewhere. We live in an age of viral clips and 4K highlight reels where substance is meaningless without spectacle. If Angel Reese makes a game-changing block in the forest and no one sees it, does it even matter? No. Not even a whisper. Just a dull, disappointing thud. Her PR team, overworked and exhausted, watched helplessly as their efforts to spin the narrative fell flat. Their laptops remained open on Twitter tabs, desperate to salvage something from the quiet. The internet didn't erupt with buzz. Headlines stayed silent. The crowd remained indifferent. Because nowadays, it's not just about how well you play. It's about whether your moments can be turned into GIFs and memes. If your hustle isn't instantly meme-worthy, you might as well stay on the bench. Invisibility in this digital age is the worst form of irrelevance, especially when you're actually doing your job well, but no one notices.
Y'all talk a real big game. Y'all talk a real big game. Y'all tell us just how amazing Angel Reese is. Y'all tell us how y'all ride or die with Angel Reese. And you know what? This ain't on Angel Reese. This isn't even about Angel Reese. It's about y'all.
Meanwhile, somewhere in a parallel universe where people actually follow women's basketball, Caitlin Clark was setting the entire sports world ablaze, as if she'd just discovered how to dunk from the three-point line. The Indiana Fever's exhibition game broke multiple records. Yes, records, showing that Clark's talent wasn't just impressive, it was historic. She didn't just show up. She dominated, turning heads and capturing the attention of viewers from all walks of life. Housewives, plumbers, NBA executives, even those who thought the WNBA was just a Wi-Fi password, all tuned in. Clark brought an electrifying energy that felt like the sports version of a viral meme, except she was sinking threes with effortless flair, making the game look like... Her performance was so captivating it practically hijacked television screens, leaving no doubt that she was the star of the moment. Meanwhile, Angel Reese's big chance came and went quietly, overshadowed by Clark's seismic display. Her trash talk, which could have been a highlight, was barely a whisper compared to Clark's explosive spectacle. While Clark was metaphorically dunking basketballs from Mars, Reese was still trying to figure out how to keep her sneakers from squeaking too loudly on the hardwood. It was a missed opportunity, a reminder of how fleeting and unpredictable fame can be when spectacle reigns supreme over substance.
ESPN featured Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Felines against the best AAU team from Brazil. The Roo from Waterloo drew 1.3 million viewers, which was a 13% increase over the WNBA's regular season average on ESPN last year. Viewership also exceeded ratings for Game 1 of the WNBA Finals.
Caitlin Clark is truly creating her own cinematic universe, and ESPN is struggling just to keep up. Meanwhile, Angel Reese scores a layup, but her coach seems more focused on contemplating his own existential crisis than celebrating the moment. It's almost as if the game itself has taken a back seat to the spectacle surrounding Clark. And yet, some still insist Reese is changing the game, as if her actions alone are rewriting history. Reese's fans, loyal but perhaps a bit delusional, have taken to blaming everyone but the reality. They argue networks didn't promote the game enough or that the 7 p.m. time slot was the problem, ignoring the fact that the buzz and interest simply weren't there to begin with. It's as if they refuse to acknowledge that the lack of widespread excitement and hype played a significant role in the ratings struggle. In the end, the spectacle isn't just about the game. It's about the culture Clark has ignited.
Caitlin Clark is really back, and so is that CC motion. Look, I know I've said before I don't want to talk about repeats, and this topic isn't really brand new, but it feels fresh in a sense because we finally saw Caitlin Clark back out on the bat.
Here's a striking stat. Caitlin Clark's exhibition game drew 1.3 million viewers, even for a warm-up. Meanwhile, Reese's game struggled to attract even the population of a small town. At this rate, a live stream of a potato rolling downhill would outperform her ratings. It's amusing, almost hilariously so, that minor league curling is pulling in better numbers. The real contrast, though, is what makes it so entertaining. Reese and her team have crafted a media persona like she's the star of a biopic that's yet to get the green light. She's got the glamour, the swagger, and the big talk, entering every arena like it's the Met Gala. But when the spotlight turns on and cameras roll, nobody shows up to watch the show. No matter how much she dresses it up, if she's performing for an empty room, it's still karaoke night at a sad bar. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark could conduct a shoot-around in a barn and still pack it with fans, drones, and maybe a few curious deer hoping for her autograph. Clark didn't just break ratings, she created a cultural moment. She's leading a movement, not just playing a game, while Reese's star power seems built on empty hype without the substance.
Much, but if you guys did not see, right here, the Fever Brazil game came to 1.3 million viewers. 1.3 million viewers to an exhibition game, not even a preseason game. An exhibition game. An exhibition game. An exhibition game. They came to an exhibition game. Or say they came to watch an exhibition game. That was a 60-point game, and Caitlin Clark checked out at the end of the third quarter. And it averaged 1.3 million viewers, which is absolutely crazy.
Finals. I'm not saying this to crap on anything else because I think the WNBA finals numbers were very good last year and they got better as they went along. It's just more about how impressive it is that a preseason game in any sport, right? Forget Caitlin Clark for a second. Forget any of those things. That a preseason game in any sport could outrate any game of the finals championship series. And the context on the NBA preseason games, the last NBA preseason games to do so, both to outrate that game, both involved LeBron James, and one was his first game with the Lakers. The other one, the one in 2017 there, as you can see from this Rebecca Lobo tweet, barely outrated this. And there's the graphic from ESPN as they share it. Average of 1.3 million viewers, a peak of 1.6 million viewers. That's up 13% from the regular season last.
Reese's reaction to the situation wasn't some calm, reflective pause or a graceful retreat to reconsider her approach. No, it was classic deflection, full-on excuse mode. She rattled off schedule conflicts, unreliable broadcasters, the weather, Mercury in retrograde, anything and everything but taking responsibility for her actual product. Heaven forbid the basketball itself be the problem, but let's be honest. If you've built your entire reputation on hype and no one shows up to the event you've promised, that's not the media's fault. That's on you. She doubled down, spinning every criticism into some conspiracy or personal attack. When you mistake attention for genuine admiration, you start viewing every critique as an attack rather than a chance to improve. It's like she's craving the spotlight so badly that she's willing to burn bridges just to stay in the center of the stage. But this approach only amplifies the disconnect, making her seem more interested in maintaining the illusion of importance than actually fixing anything. It's all show, no substance.
Return to Iowa to take on the Brazilian national team. But
let's not forget, Reese's preseason was hyped to epic proportions by her own camp. There were teaser trailers, dramatic press photos, and she's here. Tweets that made it seem like she was the second coming of Diana Taurasi. They practically printed t-shirts with her face on them before she even stepped onto the court. Every news outlet was buzzing, eagerly awaiting what they called a historic moment in basketball. But the reality? Viewer numbers were shockingly low, lower than most unboxing videos on YouTube. We're talking fewer viewers than those tuning in just to see if a new iPhone has a slightly different color. And that's before factoring in people who accidentally tuned in thinking it was something else, like a rerun of The Office or a new season of The Bachelor. Imagine the poor viewers who thought they were about to witness the greatest basketball event, only to be met with a lackluster game that made The Sandlot look like the NBA Finals. It's like going all in on a poker hand, shouting "all in," and then realizing you're actually playing Uno.
I'll suck. LSU did not show her any love, and now her own city doesn't. Her own city in her own building doesn't show her love. I have said it time and time again. Preseason games don't mean dick. I don't care about them. But you want to know why people talk about it so damn much? People talk about it because y'all constantly want to remind everybody that folks are watching her games too. She is the one that said, people are watching the game because of me too. Well, that's not wholly accurate. It's just not accurate.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is over there casually sipping Gatorade and making history as if it's no big deal. She doesn't need to shout about being the star. She simply is the star. Not because she claims it, but because people actually tune in to watch her play. The Indiana Fever games now resemble Coachella, packed with excited fans, screaming at the top of their lungs. Some might say it's unfair to compare the two, but let's be honest. Reese herself fueled this rivalry narrative. She pushed it, nurtured it, and even branded herself as Caitlin Clark's rival, the supposed second act in this story. But the plot twist? The ratings reveal it's more like a one-woman show starring Caitlin Clark, with Angel Reese as the bystander. No one's tuning in for the supporting role, and the numbers confirm it. You can't just declare a rivalry when the supporter and the fans tell a different story. Sorry, but the real competition is between Reese and reality, and right now, reality's winning.
Caitlin Clark is really back, and so is that CC motion. Look, I know I've said before I don't want to talk about repeats, and this topic isn't really brand new, but it feels fresh in a sense because we finally saw Caitlin Clark back out on the basketball floor, and we all had our reactions. I mean, she had that iconic moment, really in a sense for an exhibition, for a preseason moment, a legendary.
Reese definitely has talent, but you can't Instagram your way into sports history. That requires real numbers, audience engagement, and tangible proof. Right now, Reese's statistical footprint is like a TikTok filter. Eye-catching at first, but it disappears the moment the battery dies. Even the WNBA probably winced when they saw the data. It's tough to sell the next big thing when the numbers don't make a splash. It's like promoting a blockbuster film that bombs on opening weekend and then blaming the popcorn. Sure, the hype was there, big personalities and sky-high expectations, but where's the substance? The stats just don't support the hype. And the worst part? The downward spiral has only just begun. Because now the narrative is set, and it's a rough one. Reese didn't quietly fade out, it flopped loudly. She crowned herself queen of the court, only to find the throne room half empty. Every game now comes with added baggage. Every air ball echoes louder. Every missed shot becomes a meme, a hashtag, a viral moment that makes fans cringe. The media machine she built to elevate herself, it's now turning on her. And you can't unsee the scoreboard. Numbers never lie, and the internet certainly won't forget.
I've seen all kinds of comments in my live. I've seen comments on my videos from Angel Reese fans. And hey, you know what? I appreciate y'all comments. But I'm sure I'm going to hear all kinds of comments now. And I'm fine with it. Bring them on. Defend your stance. Defend what you stand on. Because they could not give tickets away to the Chicago Sky Minnesota Lynx game yesterday. Couldn't give them away. People didn't watch her game versus Brazil. LSU fans didn't show up for her, and I got 1,000 reasons about baseball. But let's talk about it real fast.
Caitlin Clark is doing what true stars do. Winning fans, filling arenas, and making basketball the main event, not the drama. She's demonstrating how to rise without gimmicks or social media tantrums, just pure performance, excellence, and impressive numbers. Reese is learning the hard way that hype without substance is like frosting without a cake, sweet for a moment, but ultimately empty. So what's next for the self-proclaimed queen of hoops? Hopefully a dose of reality. If the trend continues, she may be remembered as the only WNBA player whose social media engagement outshined her entire professional debut. In a world full of Caitlin Clarks, maybe it's time Angel Reese stopped trying to be a brand and focused on being a baller, because right now she's only managing to break her own network confidence. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.